And a good morning to this week's Fife Property Show. This morning we're going to be talking about full house to empty nest. So what I mean by that, well, what's next for your family home after your children actually move out? Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Brass band up and down the street, ding, 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 ding. Sorry, I just had that. I just had that picture in my mind, the video in the film in my mind. Dun, 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 dun. But sometimes it's like sometimes when your kids do move out, you kind of it's difficult to fill a void, isn't it? It's I mean, Tony left years ago, my daughter, for university, and she's never really been back, if that makes sense. But Ben and Scott are still here, and I tell them, milk it for all it's got. You're getting free food, free digs, free electricity, free gas. Take all your money, invest it, and compound your wealth. And they're actually doing that, which is absolutely fantastic. So this is what we're going to talk about this morning, I would say. Andrea, what's your gut reaction, initial instincts on this?
Well, they talk here about, everything from grief to relief. And in our own circumstances, we've had 4 children all leave the nest. Some of them came back, some of them have gone again. But yeah, it's a difficult one because you want your children to know that they've grown up and they're standing on their own 2 feet. And that's an accomplishment for any parent for that to happen. But in your case, the way that your boys are doing, that is an accomplishment as well because they're thinking of the future still. And that's really important. But yeah, once the kids have gone, life does change.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Time to visit marriage counselling.
It was funny, I was just thinking...
Sorry, who are you again?
I was just thinking the other morning there, I thought, God, it's been years since I actually had to shout out in the morning, Andrew, are you getting up? It's time to get up. Every 5 minutes. Andrew, are you up yet?
Well, at last count, 8 to 10% of the UK were thought to be empty nesters, parents whose children have all left. That's quite high, actually. That's 1 in 10 properties. And the initial change brings up mixed emotions. It's like what you said, everything from grief to relief. Wherever you sit on the spectrum is also the time for transition and choices. So you should actually keep your home. Should you keep your home as it is? Should you change it and how you use it, or start a new chapter somewhere else? Time to downsize, sell the big family home, release some capital, downsize, and you've got some money that you've created. I mean, I think that's probably the strategy that most people actually use. Is actually they sell their big family home, they downsize to a smaller home, which is assumed to be a lot more at a better price point and release quite a lot of capital as a result of it. That's I think that's the assumption, is it no? Or that's the plan that most people follow, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think now with you getting ever longer and longer mortgages, times to pay off mortgages, that when the children have left and you've maybe got your retirement lump sum and you downsize, you can pay off all that mortgage and you can actually start living and doing things that you like doing, and maybe going away on a lot more holidays and sort of spending your capital that you had tied up in bricks and mortar and putting it to better use.
Enjoying the last 15 years you've got.
Only 15? Because you're still paying your mortgage up until 85 now, I think.
Well, look at it this way. If the average lifespan is like 89 years old, just say 90, and you're expected to retire at 65 years old, then you've got 25 years left. If that's the case. So you really, when I said 15, I was doing tongue in cheek, but if you only live till about 80, then you've got 15 years. And that's actually quite frightening to see you've only got 15 years after 65. Sorry? Oh, wow. And so that's the time when you probably want to do all the things you really wanted to do. We're getting to wealth creation and the rest of it. If you want to know more about this, watch the Wealth Creation Show on our channel, the playlist, because we talk about this all the time and actually being able to retire or, semi-retire a lot earlier. And you have the wealth to do that as well, because that's the only thing that stops people from actually physically retiring and actually no needing to work is money. That's it. If you had all the money in the world at 20 years old, you wouldn't need to work. You would be retired at 20. I know that sounds daft, but but it's unrealistic for the majority of people. But I just want to emphasise that point. It's nothing but money. It stops people from retiring and the accumulation of wealth to be able to survive after they retire. That's what that's all about. So again, wealth creation sort of show to do that. So with so many options, then and a wide open future, well, we actually thought you might find inspiration from our experiences of other empty nesters. So you can choose whether to upgrade your home, reclaim your space, declutter and downsize, create an extra income, or just plan to stay forever in the same house. My mum and dad did that. My mum's still there now. It's like, oh, my dad went, oh God, I'll be gone in a couple of years anyway, so why should I move? Can't be bored with the hassle. It's like, all right, great, cheery. So whether you're sure about you want to stay, certain you want to sell, or simply play with ideas around what to do with your empty nest, this show and podcast is probably for you, definitely. Let's talk about the first one I'd mentioned here. Upgrading your home. What's your thoughts on this, Andrea? Upgrading your home and just going, yeah, okay, time to upgrade.
Yeah, great idea. You don't have the children getting in the way. Although children moving out can leave a vacuum, it's a whole lot easier to invest in major upgrades with fewer people living at home, and some typical empty nester examples can include the kitchen and bathroom remodels. I don't know how many people must wait for the kids to move out so they can get a new bathroom put in. And then the kids are saying, oh, that's really nice. Why didn't you do it while we were here?
Well, for obvious reasons, tide mark on the bath. Nobody washes it or cleans it.
So, I mean, remodels on such a bigger scale as that can often be put on the back burner because of the disruption it causes to a full household. But they can transform the luxury and experience of your home. So it's something nice to enjoy while you're in your aging years.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, kitchen bathroom remodels. I see a lot of people actually doing that when they move out. It's like an opportunity to actually just. Do you think it's down to the fact that now things have changed a wee bit? So it's maybe a psychological human thing to give yourself a wee lift. Just by giving your house a wee remodel because there's something changed in the dynamics of where that is.
Well, maybe they feel that because they're not spending so much on the children. I mean, they'll only get a book token at Christmas now that they've left home. And, they're maybe past the stage where you're having to pay for university fees and, college courses or whatever. And you're not having to give them pocket money. So I think, gosh, all those savings, we're going to spend it on ourselves now.
Yeah.
And what would you really like? Yeah, I'd like a new kitchen and a new bathroom.
That's the first thing most people go for: new kitchens, new bathrooms, isn't it? Because they've lived with the kitchen. I mean, I've got my kitchen, and I think we got it brand new when we got the house, and that was just coming up for about 20 years. So we've still had that kitchen for 20 years. And I tell you what, it's a bit worse for wear, but I didn't bother. It doesn't bother me.
No.
But I've no doubt, when you want a remodel or something like that, you'll go like, let's get it done. Funny enough, my dad's mentality was always like, oh, let's get it done. We're just about to move. Right, okay. So it's like, so let's get it done for somebody else to enjoy it. Why did we not get it done earlier and we could have enjoyed it? That's like the plastic on the back seat of the car. It's like, let's leave the plastic on until we're getting rid of the car, and then we can take it off for somebody to enjoy the actual seat itself, or the 3-piece suite that you got in the house. I don't know if you got that, but I remember that vividly. I remember that in other people's houses as well. It's like, why have we still got the plastic on the suite? What's all that about? It's like, it's to protect the suite and the fabric. And it's like, okay. And I've seen some suites actually thrown out with the plastic still on it. It's like, what? Because they're broken, but the fabric's perfect condition. Oh. Anyway, so the psychology, I mean, you know where I'm coming from. The psychology actually, the psychology is more intriguing for me as well, as why people would actually do this. And so definitely that's probably a lot to do with, a new broom sweeps clean, that sort of thing. The other one I'd noticed in here was energy efficiency. I've seen some of my friends actually do that, are a bit older than me, they've actually gone for the solar panels, and then they've gone for the battery, the backup battery that goes with it. And then they've also gone for the charger. So they have to have a 3-phase going into it. By the way, you'll see a lot of digging up the roads and stuff like that outside people's houses with this, because you've got to put a 3-phase system in to your house in order to get that into your house, and therefore our network isn't actually able to do that. So that's why they have to upgrade every single house with a new 3-phase system, apparently. So if you see, the electricity board or anything like that, I don't know what they're called now. Transco's the actual gas, isn't it?
Transco's gas, or it was.
Scottish Power. I think it's still Scottish Power.
Scottish
but
Power in Fife.
We used to call it SSEB.
Mm-hmm.
Scottish and Southern Electricity Board. That's what it used to be
Scottish,
called years and years
Scottish and Southern now cover Perthshire area, and Scottish Power cover Fife.
Yeah, Scottish Power, owned by somebody in Spain, is it? No,
somebody that's rich.
I'm sure it's owned by somebody in Spain that bought it. It's like, that doesn't make sense. Scottish, owned by somebody that's not Scottish. Anyway, that's another story. So slash your bills and ramp up your comfort and coziness with upgraded insulation. This clearly, the outset, the release of capital then allows, that person to then bring their monthly costs. I mean, for me personally, when you have an empty nester and they're like, I'm just going to pay for rooms I'm never using from now on, and then I'm going to pay for heating I'm never using from now on, or I'm not getting the benefit of, because I'm just heating a room that's empty all the time. So that tends to be the mindset why people would actually downsize in that example, and we'll talk about that in the third stage of this. So I think that's what a lot of people go for. They go for energy efficiency as well. It'd be good to hear anybody else's thoughts on that, by the way. Stick something in the comments if you get a chance about why, if you're an empty nester, if you've stayed or you're selling, or you've decided to just revamp your house, or you've decided to create an extra income, maybe by renting to someone else and having a living lodger, something like that. It'll be interesting to hear what you've done. So that's where the energy efficiency comes in, and people try to slash their bills and ramp up the comfort and coziness and insulation and the advanced heating systems and the high performance double glazing that they get for that reason. What's the other one for me is the sun worship, the injector style and easy maintenance with the garden and landscaping. This is an opportunity to do it now, because we now no longer have people running riot in the garden and trampling over everything and not really caring about anything. And plus the fact, when you have empty nesters, you're downsizing, or you're just an empty nester, you're probably retired. So you're kind of looking for something to do, just upkeeping the garden, landscaping, maybe a modern conservatory, a room just for yourself to sit in, to enjoy in the sun, maybe reading, maybe watching your own. Maybe you can view 2 televisions. I know people with 2 television rooms, a his and hers. It's like, you watch it there, I'm going to go to the other room and watch the football. See, or the golf. It's like, I'm away somewhere else to watch that. And for a room that's showered in daylight is a perfect example of that. And even in winter, some of these rooms are really good. If you not conservatories, but actual proper sunrooms, or a garden room, we would call them, more than likely.
The thing that I would say, especially about that one, about getting your garden all re-landscaped, make it easy maintenance and everything. It's all very well. Your own children have gone, but then the grandchildren start coming. So your nice garden that was clear of toys and things all begins to get cluttered with swings and
all happens
seesaws.
All over again. Do you know, I think we become more tolerant though, because it's our grandchildren now.
Yeah,
we can hand them back.
yeah.
It's like, there you go. I've hyped them all up. Have them back.
Yeah.
So definitely, as a bonus, remember that adding value gives you more options down the line, from buying a second home to boosting your buying power, if you ever decide to sell.
Yep, definitely.
Reclaiming your space, Andrea. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's no question that an empty nest can feel strange at first, but as you get used to the extra space, you have the chance to spread out after years of dedicating rooms to your children. So in our case, Andrew's bedroom is now Brian's model railway room. It's
I
got a
had a
huge
feeling.
model railway layout in there. And the room that Adam had, we did have as our music room. We had the piano and all the guitars and the drum kit and everything in there. But since my mother came to live with us a year ago now, that was then changed into a bedroom again. So that's her room. And we have one spare room left for the grandchildren sleeping in.
Similar to us, I've got a home office and a bedroom now, although this is an office, really. A new studio.
Studio.
And then even the cats have their own room now. The cinema room has now been taken over by the cats. They have their own room now. And then at the back, we've got a room for a fitness room, which is really everything that's been dumped on top of my running machine and also my cycling machine. Like the cat food. We've got to have for 8 cats. in case Armageddon comes along and we run out of cat food, we've got to have about 10 bags of 20-kilo cat food, just in case Armageddon happens.
I just hope they don't go off it as quickly as the cats that I know.
But we've got all the ferals and strays that come here in. We've got Prickles the hedgehog. We've got Stephen Seagal the seagull. We've also got Blue the feral cat that comes along as well. We've got Chip and Dale the 2 squirrels that come for their peanuts. So we've got a good Ferrari of the ferals that come and get fed every single day. Every single day.
And then Ben and Scott come in too.
Yeah, we've got Ben and Scott as well. See, they sometimes come down the stairs and go, "Where's my tea?" It's like, you're a grown man. It's like, what's going on here? You're a grown man. Go to the cupboard and make yourself something. Or we usually say, forage. And then they know, do it yourself.
Hello, KFC.
Oh, that's what they do. It's like buns and shakes or something like that. They go straight onto any app or whatever it is. They go, oh well, I'll get this or I'll get that. Or Scott goes right down to Sainsbury's and just full carrier bags of nothing to eat but sweets. It's going to come back to haunt him one of these days. It looks like a beanpole too, but I'll come back to haunt him one of these days. I keep telling him that.
So some of the heartwarming transformations that we've seen, other than what we've talked about, you can turn empty bedrooms into spaces to paint, craft, read, write, or nurture your dormant passion project, whatever that might be. You could create a yoga or fitness space and then hang your clothes on the exercise bike and the cat food and everything. You stay in shape just by moving the bags of cat food. Without the cost of a gym membership or even having to leave the house. Your cinema room, as you mentioned, with a big fantastic couch, big screen, surround sound for top-notch movie nights, or as an extra option if you can't agree on a film or a series. Or again, for your cats, they might want to watch the Pink Panther, you never know, or Top Cat. Repurposing rooms for your personal joy, your health, your relaxation is a quick and easy way to begin a new era of enjoying your home and to finally make it all about you, which I think is quite important.
I definitely think that's the case. A lot of people do that. It's an interesting one you said about the craft and arts and stuff like that. A lot of people actually begin to do that. They have their own place, especially some of the outdoor activities that they have. Maybe, typically in the East Nuke, you've got the net loft. The net lofts are usually converted to artist studios or home offices. We've just got one in Roger Street actually like that, where you go out and it's a beautiful design studio, and it's all been strapped and board and insulated. It's got water, it's got power, it's got everything. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and just for that alone, it actually makes the property look absolutely brilliant. And the property is brilliant in its own right, but it just really adds an added value to what it is. So yes, that for these sort of things, it is actually really good. And for me personally, I think stuff like that adds value in the mind of maybe someone else. I mean, everybody wants the cinema, everybody wants the yoga rooms, everybody wants the arts and crafts and a different room to have for themselves. But not everybody can afford to do that, can they? And I think that's the main thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, decluttering downsizing is one of the options that you can have for your, once the kids have gone. Sometimes after a decluttering, you think, oh my goodness, I've just got far too much space here. So it does feel a bit odd living in a house with empty bedrooms after the children have left. So downsizing could be the answer. You could move to somewhere where you've always wanted to live.
That's my plan.
Quiet country cottage to a
I've got
city centre pad. Yeah, or a home by the sea. Some people can actually move to the other side of the world when their children have left home.
Well, I've got somebody there now in East Neuk. They're not bored where they stay. They're actually just looking for the right type of property, and they're happy to move anywhere. I've got another person that actually moved a few years back from Creole, and I think they moved to Australia. So it really opens up all these opportunities. The thing it obviously affects that is the emotional ties you've got to your existing children, and the fact that they've maybe got young children, and then you want to help out. I mean, you've got that experience just now, Andrea. I think, but for me, decluttering and downsizing is definitely the way to go. There's no doubt about it. I've said to the boys, eventually at some point in time, in the next 10 years or something like that, we will go to our 2-bedroom bungalow we've got already with rent, and we will move into that, and we'll spend an absolute fortune upgrading it in the beginning, before we move in, and then that'll be it. I'll post the stamp back garden. It's great. And then what I'll do is I'll the cats, I'll have less cats at that time, because obviously the cats have a finite life. We'll have to be realistic about that. So I'll probably have the kittens, just probably about 4. So we'll go there, and we'll downsize and we'll release this house for someone else to use it. I did say to the boys at one point in time with a house, maybe I would keep it if they meet people, meet a partner, and they want a place to stay, because I can subdivide upstairs and downstairs into 2 separate houses on the actual plot itself. And one person could come in for the back and one person could come in for the front. So that, and there's enough off-street parking for all the cars that they need. So I said that as an option, if they didn't really want to move and they wanted somebody to move in, and okay, then that could work. Fine with that. Yeah. So that's the sort of process for me. And I just want to rent. I am not buying another house, because it's more cost effective for me to rent and release capital in order to pass it on to the children. So, for inheritance tax, let's be realistic. You'll never live forever. So you make sure you plan properly. Because I'll make a political statement. The budget's going to get worse. They've clearly said that it's going to get worse before it gets better. So let's just batten down the hatches, prepare for a storm just in case, but still be on that sort of, still be, don't plan for it completely and be entrenched in it, but just make sure you've got it in the background and you de-risk your situation. In terms of that. So decluttering and downsizing is what a lot of people I know, when I go to see them, actually do as a result of that. And for me personally, it's mainly down to the amount of money they have to spend on the ongoing maintenance, and also their health.
I mean, some people just want a smaller home in their current neighbourhood, because they know the area and they can reap all the benefits of the downsizing, but they can retain their familiar surroundings. And their local friendships. And as you're getting older, those friendships are really important, especially when your children have gone.
The most difficult place is St Andrews, though. The amount of times I go to big, massive houses in St Andrews, and they're going, well, I want to stay in St Andrews, but there's nothing really to downsize to. That's one thing they just don't make in St Andrews. When they're building properties, it's always big blooming family homes. And it's like the last thing St Andrews needs is probably big family homes. It's actually homes which people can downsize, the elderly population can downsize into, to release their homes for the big family homes, for the people that are already, want to upgrade to them.
Yeah, but even sort of like the new build estates on the outskirts of Guard Bridge, they didn't have any bungalows or smaller homes there that would be suitable for people downsizing to.
There's no profit in it for the builders. That's the problem.
Yeah.
There's not enough profit in them, and it's all about the land acquisition and the cost they have to pay for the land to the local authority to actually build, because they have to pay an amount per plot towards things like education, all the sewage systems, all the water, all the different infrastructure
Yeah.
improvements have to go. So they have to pay a huge slice to the government for as a result of that. And you've heard it recently. I can't remember who it was. The one in Collinsborough is building just now. It could be. Is it Springfield? No, I'm not. I wouldn't want to say. I can't remember. But they were actually saying we've got to the end of this project, and literally we're not in a position we could actually pay all that money to you anymore because of the inflation's gone up so much. So these are issues that we have to resolve in order to be able to build bungalows for an aging population. I think that's what's got to be key, and that's when that's how you're seeing a lot more of the McCarthy Stone template coming up, where people actually they're purpose built for an aging population for that reason. But you're right. It's about having a smaller family home, but they want to stay in the current neighbourhood. They want all their friends and family still. They want them around them. Living closer to the friends and the families for closer ties and caring for your own parents is a really instrumental one. I've known people actually selling up to move back to where they moved from, even though they didn't want to, because they're going to care for an elderly parent, or the children now need them for childcare because it costs an absolute fortune.
I mean, there's all my children live in Perth, all 4 of them, and 2 of them have children. But although there are cheaper places to buy houses outside of Perth, it's the distance that's involved to be able to get them to me for looking after them.
Yeah.
That's cost prohibitive.
Yeah, you're right, and it's something you've really got to take into account, isn't it? And it's that bond that you have with your children. You feel you need to help them because of the impending costs it's going to cost to maintain childcare all the time. So it helps immensely. And to be honest, a lot of people actually just it's one of the things to really look forward to is being an active grandparent. And being involved in their, it's because, and you know why? And I'm not a grandparent just now, but I think it's a lot to do with, and just from my perspective, I think it's a lot to do with they're able to do the things with their grandchildren that they were never able to do with their own children because they had to work most of the time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. And it's so nice being able to sort of relive those early years, and you remember what your own children were like then as well. I mean, my youngest granddaughter is the absolute spitting image of what her mother was, and she'd be sitting in the high chair, and I just think, God, that looks like Holly all over again. So, I mean, it's just an amazing feeling to have. I couldn't wait to become a granny.
Yeah, so the Japanese tend to do this a lot as well. The Japanese, even the grandparents actually help out the grandchildren with childcare as well, because they've realised, and this is the blue zones around the world. They've realised with a healthy diet and also being active, and in the family and in the community at an older age is actually more beneficial for their health. And that is one of the things that actually help people live a lot longer and a lot healthier is community more than medicine.
Yeah, I fully agree there. As I say, Mum's been with us a year now. She's 92, and she's had so much input, obviously living in with the family, just conversation, games, meals together. But the fact that her great-grandchildren are at the house very regularly now, and she has an amazing bond, especially with the 3-year-old one. It's just, and Mum's thriving on it, and grandchildren are thriving on it too.
Do you think it's a lot to do with a rising tide lifts all ships, sort of that thing, and behaviour breeds behaviour? So the grandkids running about and the energy they've got kind of rubs off on you.
Well, it rubs off on my mum. It doesn't rub off on me, unfortunately. No, but I think it does. And the mental stimulation for both sets, my 6-year-old grandson just loves speaking with his great granny. and they have the most amazing conversations because he's a very knowledgeable 6-year-old, and he'll talk about everything from ancient Egypt and whatnot. It's
So decluttering and downsizing could be beneficial, and as I said, you came up with the ones that people that always want to live by the sea and quietly in a country cottage. You're having a smaller home in your current neighbourhood reaps all the benefits of the downsizing with retaining your family, your familiar surroundings, local friendships, and actually living closer to family members for closer ties, caring for your own parents, or becoming an active grandparent. I mean, if that's given a lot of people food for thought, take a look at our earlier stress-free downsizing blog. We've actually put it on this post, so click on the link above or below, and you'll get through to this article. And the stress-free downsizing blog is on there, and podcast, and it'll keep you in touch as well, and also get in touch to find out how your home's value and what your budget will be for your next move. I think that's the most important thing. The other one that comes into this, and I see it a couple of times. I've seen it quite often actually, when I've been in St Andrews over the years, where people want to create an extra income. And they know their home's too large, but they're settled where they are. They can't find anywhere else more appropriate to downsize. And, some people just didn't want to go through the hassle of moving again and all the furore and the stress and everything that comes with it. So, but they really don't want to move out. So they turn their home into a kind of money spinner in a number of ways. I actually saw it in Creel as well, in Nethergate North. The lady had 9 bedrooms in her house. And and she just let it to students from St Andrews University every single year, 50 quid a room a week, every single year. So she was getting £200 for each room. She was getting £1,800 a month, and that's what she was doing. And she was happy to do that. And she loved the fact that, other people in the house, it's that sort of thing about, just no being on your own. So she loved that as well, and she still does that just now. And then as well, there was people in St Andrews. They had rented out the room, and what they're doing is they're taking in students and professionals as lodgers again. And the first £7,500 per year is actually tax free under the rent a room scheme. And students often leave in the summer, and that gives them time off, which is great.
Yeah.
So you're not taking a permanent person, you're kind of getting that break in between so you can go for your holidays. So you're not tied to like what it is, like a bed and breakfast, where you've got to be there all the time, and you feel you can't get away, and you feel it's a job. But with this scenario, and you're just renting to students, it's like not a job, because it's like they leave for the summer, and it's like, yeah, I'll go on my holidays. Alternatively, you could list rooms as well on Airbnb for occasional guest visits. And when you please, and block them out for when your children visit, and you get the same tax-free allowance again. So the other one is getting planning permission to divide your home if it lends itself to conversion, which is a good one. You something just what I said here. We've got I think it's 6 bedrooms, 2 receptions, or something like that. So if you subdivide upstairs and downstairs and have it access coming in at either end, then it could work. You could subdivide the home. You could probably make more income out of that, and you could live downstairs because you're one level. So one level living, and you could just rent upstairs and make an income out of that as well. So or you could sell off maybe part of the grounds because you're on a bigger plot. You maybe get planning permission for part of that plot. Get a outline plan permission from 3-bedroom bungalow from the local authority, and then sell that plot individually, and then put that money into the house, or put that money into having a good time in your elderly years as it goes by. So these are all options that you can have for just creating an extra income overall. Extra income. What sort of thoughts would you have on that, Andrea? You've done things. You've done your cattery.
Yeah, that was we ran a board. We set up and ran a boarding cattery for 10 years. It was very successful, but obviously people's circumstances change, and we needed to sell. We couldn't sell at Plan A, which was cattery and house, because of mortgage things going on. People couldn't buy everything together. So we went to plan B and we actually demolished everything and sold off the area, 2 plots. So
2 plots.
2 plots, yep. And I think that was the best thing that we ever did. And there's 2 lovely bungalows on there now, which we've sold one of them.
Yeah, we sold one of them.
Again,
A
since it
lot
was
of people are
built.
still in them, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, that was the one thing that when we went to buy that house that had the outbuilding, we went with the intention to start up a business.
Yeah.
And it fitted perfectly. But when we didn't need the business anymore, we moved to an ordinary house.
So there is scope and flexibility for a lot of people actually to then look at it when when the kids move out, to actually to create that extra income, and that could be ideal for some people. So as I said before, some people just want to maybe think about upgrading their home. Some people want to reclaim the space. Some people want to declutter and downsize. Other people want to create an extra income. But what about the people that want to stay forever? What do they do?
Well, it's an inescapable fact that we're all getting older, even you. And if you feel that you never want to move,
I'm
it's
going to live
wise to think
forever.
ahead. We'll see. Do you want to take a bet on it? Oh, no, we don't bet.
You say you can never beat death and taxes, but I'm going to try and beat one of them, and it's no taxes, because I've kind of given up on that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you need to think ahead to see if it's possible to stay where you are forever until they carry you out in a box. It could be many years away from needing to make modifications to your property, but it is worth considering whether your home would be suitable for anything like that. So in the bathroom area, you can actually take out the bath and put in either a walk-in shower or create a wet room, or you can get one of these fancy baths, shower combo things that it's got a little door in the side. That's kind of fine, but when you go to sell your house, I'm not sure what the resale things are like that, how attractive they are for other people. But you need to think about yourself if you're going to live there right up to the end.
I often promote a lot of properties. I've just been out to one now actually, and I promoted about one level living, even though it's got an attic room, and it has a bedroom up in the attic with an ensuite on it. And I said, if the other side of that is you could actually develop the attic. It's got a 1-bedroom ensuite. It's got enough space to have a living room up there as well, and actually have a kitchen area off there and a home office to the side. So I said, if somebody wants to be upstairs and somebody wants to a 1-level living downstairs with the 2 double bedrooms, the living room, the bathroom, the dining room, and the kitchen, then that could suit perfectly. Because it's in a great location. So I'm a big fan of exactly what you said. If you plan to stay forever, think about the logic about, do you need to go upstairs for everything, or can downstairs be repurposed and redesigned for that inevitability? Because it comes to us all at some point in time. If the doesn't get you, then you're probably going to weigh yourself out at some point in time, and it's going to be difficult to tackle stairs and everything like that. So if you've not got a capacity to build a wet room downstairs, you've maybe not got capacity to have a living room downstairs, a bedroom downstairs, then you're kind of snookered. And maybe, and I have seen it where a lot of people actually decide a wee bit earlier. I would rather personally decide earlier to move house before it came to the inevitable that I've have to move, because then it's on my terms and it's in a favourable market, because I would probably decide to move when the market was buoyant, rather than actually leave myself a position where I've definitely got to move. I've got no other choice because of my circumstances, and the market isn't as good as it should be. Especially if I was trying to release capital and downsize, because then you're on a loser at that point in time if the market's a lot lower.
Yeah, I mean, you can, these stair lifts that you get nowadays, you can get some quite compact stair lifts, and they're quite neat, and they just sort of fold up against the wall. So you could, if you need to be able to get upstairs for either the bathroom or bedroom, then sometimes a stair lift is suitable. You don't necessarily need to move.
It depends if you're wanting to spring the money to do it. Because if you're like my dad, he went, well, I've not got long to go, so I'm not going to spend all that money and nobody will use it. Like, what? Sorry, could you say that again? Well, look at Jim down the road. He only had his 18 months. He paid a fortune for it and he's not there anymore. He only got 18 months of it. And it says,
I
he got
think you can
18
rent
months.
them.
He got 18 months at a better quality of life. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
you can't take it with you. You can't take it with you, remember. Yes, you can pass it on to your family. You know, that's fine. But it's life is there for living. It's it's not there to what's the word? Deny. You know, it's like when you go on a diet. It's like a diet is meant to be enjoyable. It's not meant to be where you deny yourself all the time, because then that is not a great experience. So it's the same way when you're doing things like, you know, you're planning to stay forever and you're planning to redesign the house. Don't leave yourself in a position where you're in denial all the time about everything. It's like, oh no, I can't get that because it's like, oh, you know, that'll no be, and it's like, no. If you've got the income and you've got the means and the wealth to do it, then enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You've worked for it. For goodness sake, give yourself some sort of pleasure.
Yeah, I remember being in a house, and the lady had multiple sclerosis and she was wheelchair bound, but she actually had one of the very early lifts in her house, and it just went up from one corner of her lounge up to the corner in the bedroom above, and she had full access for getting everywhere. And it was really clever because when it was down in the living room, if you were in the bedroom, it had the carpet covering it, so there was no hole in the floor. And then when it went up the stair, it had like an equivalent of the ceiling on the bottom part. So it was very neat. And when that was donkeys years ago, so I'm sure they've got an awful lot better now.
I don't think they've got I don't think they're as efficient as that. I think that, you know, they tend to be the stair lifts that go all the way around and everything.
This was a room lift.
Yeah. A lot of people are actually a lot of people, and I've heard it before, it's like they don't want to upset their decoration or put anything into their, you know, into the steps, you know, because they're timber and it's like they're really good and it's maybe they've been there for years. Like you've got a house that's maybe built in 1895 or something like that. And it's like, no, I don't want to ruin the stairs because the stairway's still there from the original. And it looks really decorative, and it's like you've got to drill holes into it. No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But
well, it's not doing them much good as it is.
I know, but hey, I'm giving you an example. Believe it or no, that's how that person thought.
That's how people think.
Yeah, it's like oh my God, you're going to suffer as a result of that. Why would you suffer? It's like when you're gone, somebody's going to completely change that house anyway. And they're going to do all these things more than likely. So why no you?
Yeah, just do it and get the enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think you know, it's like what I say. This we could talk about this about empty nesters and the scenarios that you could have at this, but a lot of this has got to do with getting over these psychological hurdles in people's minds because they've been entrenched in having it like this for a long time, for 20 and 30 years, sometimes even 40 years for some people. And the difficulty in their mind of changing effectively what is neural pathways, which have been built up over all these years and have created all these habits about what you do, is so challenging and difficult for people. So I definitely think that's something they've got to be aware of. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why many people choose to sell up and move to a single-story home, like a bungalow or an apartment, to keep their entire home accessible and usable. I keep saying, oh, I wish we lived in a bungalow every time I'm carrying something heavy up the stairs and the knees are giving out and you're out of puff at the top of it.
But then the argument was, Andrea,
it's exercise.
Yeah, that's the argument. Honestly, I remember hearing a podcast about this and about the fact that a lot of the older generation should not downsize to bungalows. They should make themselves climb the stairs, because it still continues to build their muscles and help their heart and be good for them. Whereas the difficulty now is most things in our life are engineered. Most exercise in our life are engineered out of our life. Escalators is a classic example of that. I do not take an escalator in the subway in London or anywhere else. I will go right up the middle on the stairs, and I will hit every single step climbing up that stairs to the top, even if I'm out of breath, because I know that I'm engineering every single exercise out of my life, and it will come back to haunt me later on.
Yeah. It's like TV remote controls. The amount of exercise we used to getting up to change the channel on the TV.
I used loads of exercise because I was the channel changer. I was the remote control. It's like go and change that. It's like, okay, go put it on BBC, on STV. It was channel 3. There was only 3 channels at that point. There was 1, 2, and 3. I can't even remember if there was. I can't remember there was a time where there was only 2 channels. Maybe there was.
I always remember 3. I must admit.
Yeah, maybe 3. I can remember.
So you had to turn the dial on the TV to tune it into the station. And it was
60,
great when we got one.
I think 66 was BBC One or something like that, or 67 on the UV. Is it UHF channel or something like that?
Yeah, or UVH. Yeah.
So that most the younger generation will be listening to this at this point in time and going, "Oh, Borefest." It's like, what are you talking about? we could go even further. We could talk about tapes and having to wind them back when they chewed up in your tape recorder with a pencil. Yeah, nobody will ever know that dilemma, how difficult that was when your tape got chewed up in the recorder. Anyway, or the player.
There could come a time where all the technology that's ever been built up, it all relies on power. If for some reason we don't have power, you have to adapt back to the original ways of doing things.
Aye.
And I think everybody should be mindful of that.
Hopefully I'll not be there at that point in time.
Did you mention Armageddon earlier?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be there at that point in time. It's like, I don't think I'd be able to go back. That's all that technology, things like hot showers. I mean, a hot shower never existed 50 years ago. It's like, that's weird, to think it's 7 years. But then at 7 years old, I remember getting, and I remember the tin bath in front of the fire. The tin bath that we had in front of the fire when my dad was doing up the house that we had moved into. And the fire was a coal fire, and it had a grate on it, and then it had the slats of glass in it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it was a great fire. I've got to admit, the best thing, the best experience I remember the coal fires is marshmallows. No doubt about that. You're just toasting the marshmallows on the fire all the time, taking the top skin off, eating it, toasting it again, taking the skin off, eating it, toasting it again, taking the skin off, eating it. That was a childhood thing. That was absolutely brilliant. One of my great memories of childhood, definitely.
At least the fire was in front of the bath and not underneath it.
Yeah, I suppose. So adapting, that would be a pot on the cooker, would it no?
Cauldron.
Getting bathed in the sink. I remember I got bathed in the sink at Cameron Hospital. The bathroom in the sink. I think I was about 5 years old. I had glandular fever or something like that, and you had to go into isolation at that point in time, or something. I had something. I can't remember what it was. I remember I used to get tests every single night and all the rest of it. That's another story. So yeah, you're right. One of the main reasons why people choose to sell up is to move to a single-story home, like a bungalow apartment, and to keep their entire home accessible and usable. Yeah, definitely. You're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head with that one. So next steps, final things. If you were to give anybody, Andrea, one of the things out of here to stick with, what would it be? What advice would you give them?
I would say that whether you decide to stay in your property or downsize or whatever, always make time for family.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you'll never get that time back again.
Yeah, you're right. It's by the way, that setting's just gone. That'll never come back to you. That 49 minutes we've spent to this point in time, you'll be thinking, I've just wasted 49 minutes of my life. listening to this. I'm just thinking, I've just wasted 49 minutes of life talking about this.
And that's the doom and gloom news from Andrea and Jim.
But what I would say, though, is before you take that next step, I think it's important to get someone out, like ourselves, like myself, actually to help you with that process. Not to sell your house, but to give you the facts and the options about what you could do or what you might do. And then you can decide for yourself based on facts. Because remember, I go around houses every single day, so I see a huge amount of difference in what people do and how they do it. And that there's maybe something there. It might be beneficial to you tuning in to this or listening to this. It might actually help you. So it's the old thing about you don't know what you don't know. And it's my job to help you know about that for you to make an informed decision based on the facts about selling your house or maybe just staying and renovating your house or other options you could do for your house rather than actually just making the wrong decision and then in hindsight think, oh God, I wish I hadn't have done that.
Yep.
So the details are in this post to contact us. You can message us direct on this post or you can just contact us at any of the offices. Until next time, thanks very much for coming on, Andrea. It's been a fantastic show, as usual. You're always great, and we always have a great laugh on a nice Saturday morning. And it's bye-bye from us. See you later.
Bye-bye.